This is Gregory Shelton with Historic Living Modern World. A few weeks ago, we harvested the black walnuts on our farm and made some amazing projects with them. We stewed down the outer hull of the walnuts and made a great stain for a set of shirts, and then we made a furniture stain for a cutting board that we have. Today is even more exciting because we've harvested the nuts and we're gonna make an amazing black walnut pie out of them. So a black walnut pie is very reminiscent to a pecan pie because you can use different types of nuts to make this. Pecans, English walnuts, again, my favorite black walnuts. The oil in the walnuts have an amazing flavor and an amazing scent. It's really gonna make this pie beautiful. Yesterday, I took the walnuts that we've already harvested and I made just a beautiful black walnut bread out of it. And it's just, with just basic softened butter, this tastes truly amazing. Can't wait to have some of it for dinner. So when we make our pie, we're really going to be taking a homemade crust that I made earlier, just a standard regular crust, and we're going to be filling it with, or sprinkling with a little bit of flour and sugar at the bottom of the crust. Okay, so we're ready to make the filling of this, which is to me what makes this really rich and beautiful. So what I have is I have a half a cup of standard brown sugar. I have a full cup of light corn syrup. And then I have a half a cup of regular white table sugar and about a teaspoon of salt. Because to me, what makes a very good pie like this is the balance between sweet and salty. That to me melds with the nuts and it really takes this thing really to the next level. So we're going to be putting that in to our saucepan. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our sugar mixture, we're going to put it on the heat and get a little bit of a boil out of it. Okay, we have a very nice boil on our sugar mixture. Now we're going to be taking 3 tablespoons of unsalted butter to the mixture. Watch out because this is very hot, so when you add it, you want to make sure you do it gingerly. While the butter is melting, we want to add a little bit of vanilla. Fresh vanilla, about a teaspoon would be perfect for this. This is going to give you that very rich vanilla flavor to match the really beautiful taste of the butter. The next stage is we're going to take 3 large eggs. We're going to whip them slightly, and then we're going to add that to our syrup mixture. This is a very important part of this pie. So we have our sugar mixture, and we need to let it cool for 3 minutes. We've whisked our 3 eggs. Now what we're going to be doing is adding the whisked eggs to the sugar mixture. Now if you do that with the sugar mixture being too hot, it will scramble your eggs, and that is exactly what you do not want to do, okay? So I'm using a whisk here, which I think is important. And although you're not going to whisk it, you're kind of going to fold it, but a whisk will incorporate better than a standard spatula. Add in our eggs. Once this is done, you're going to be adding your black walnuts, which again is the star of the show. Okay, so I have a cup of black walnuts that we harvested. I put them through a food processor, so they're a little bit of a light crumble almost. So then you want to take all of your mixture and incorporate it together, okay? All you're really doing is giving a light stir with your whisk, and you'll be creating a true filling out of this, okay? All right, we're perfect. So again, we take our handmade crust. We have our little bit of a sprinkle of flour and sugar at the bottom. Now what we're going to be doing is taking our filling and adding it to the crust. Oh, wow. Buttery and beautiful. Wow. Beautiful black walnuts. A couple things to remember, because this is really what makes this important to your home pies when you're making them at your house. Our pie is ready to go into an oven. We've already turned the oven on. It's at 325. So you're going to do it for about 50 minutes, but you want this, the nuts on the top to be a nice, beautiful golden brown. Now, the thing that I always keep in mind when making crust and I make pies and things, nothing irritates me more than when you have a pie and the crust isn't quite brown on the bottom. We all know the top fluted part can get easily brown because it's exposed to the heat. But the shell on the bottom has to be brown to make a perfect pie. The way I do it for our oven is instead of putting the list on the top or the middle, I put it down a little bit lower to ensure that the crust gets cooked on the bottom. But this goes right into an oven for about 50 to 55 minutes, and then we're going to have a beautiful golden brown black walnut pie. So our pie is almost done and we're almost ready to come out of the oven. So what I like to do is make homemade whipped cream to match the pie. And this is very simple. The only things you want to keep in mind when making whipped cream. You don't want to whip it too long because, believe it or not, that will turn into butter. So quick tip to make sure it turns out perfect. I always chill the whisk part of the KitchenAid as I do the bowl. That will ensure a tightly whipped cream. So I want to add about a cup of heavy whipping cream, about a quarter cup of regular sugar, about 2 tablespoons of regular vanilla. Then whisk about a minute to minute and a half. It's already starting to thicken. We're almost there. When it's thick enough, you want to have hard peaks. Now, hard peaks will show you that that's when it's ready to come out, but it really shows that it's dense enough to sit on a spoon and on top of your pie. Okay, so our whipped cream is completed. I can see it's perfect. You can see how beautiful it is. Very, very light and almost like puffed clouds. It's perfect. This will go on top of the pie. When you're ready to serve, it's going to be a beautiful addition to your black walnut pie. So our black walnut pie is done. It's set on the outside and a little bit of looseness needs to be in the middle so you know you have a moist pie. Let's get it out of the oven. Okay. Our black walnut pie is out of the oven. It looks beautiful. See how it's set on the sides, okay? And this will thicken even more as it cools down. Now what we want to do is let this cool down fully. This is very important because this is a hot candy almost. It will burn you extensively. So let it sit. Don't push it, because once it cools down, we want it to be a little bit warm, but once it cools down and sets, we're going to put our homemade whipped cream on it. It's going to be one hell of a dessert. Now it's time to dress up your black walnut pie just a little bit. Has to look beautiful, but taste good. Warm, beautiful pie, cold, crisp whipped cream. It's going to be a perfect match. Just a nice little dollop of whipped cream. Nice rustic dollop. A little more is not bad. Now it's time to give our homemade black walnut pie the taste test, okay? Look at the top. Top has a little bit of a crunch because of the walnuts. The homemade crust has a saltiness. I think it's going to be awesome. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, what a fall dessert this is. Harvested black walnuts, beautiful pie crust. Man, it's so sweet. I taste the salt in it, the brown sugar. It's a wonderful pie. I have to get another bite. It's that good, I promise you. All good food, all good recipes, all good desserts. Have to have a little bit of sugar, a little bit of salt, and a little bit of crunch. The black walnuts give you that exactly. Mixed with the homemade whipped cream, this is one of the best desserts you'll ever have for fall. This is Gregory Shelton. with historic living, modern world. Reminding you, whenever you're going to do something, anything, make sure you move people. Cheers.